Hello and welcome to the Other 14 FC podcast. I'm Alex, Crystal Palace fan.
And I'm Tom, a West Ham fan.
And this is your podcast for everything not top six. Tired of your team being last on match of the day and not getting the flowers they deserve? Well, we're about to change that for you. Tom, what do we have this week for everyone?
We're running back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now the season is underway. We've already whipped up a whirlwind of emotions. We had Sunderland making light work of their return to the Premier League. Forest looking as fruitful as ever. The Elland Road faithful witnessed a victory. On the flip side, West Ham had no magic. Bournemouth couldn't capitalise on Semenyo's class, and we'll see if Alex lets me talk about a couple of 0-0 draws.
No.
How you been, mate?
Vetoed those 0-0 draws. Yeah, I've been really good, and we are fucking back. We're back in business.
We
after
are back. You
3
have
weeks
been
of
jollying around America. How was it?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, honestly, first time to America, so I didn't know really what to expect, but everyone was so friendly. Went in the deep south, so Nashville to New Orleans and then over to Las Vegas, and yeah, the people were amazing. The food was unreal. I put on about 4 kg out there, which I think is quite good.
All that summer weight that you lost.
Yes, all that summer weight I lost right back on.
Every picture I saw was just a big bowl of food, and I was like, I know Alex is destroying that and some of Steph's food.
But it was literally that. Like the first day I was there, it was like 4 big meals, and I was like, I'm disgusted with myself.
Then you started as you mean to go on though, didn't you?
Yeah, I just didn't stop after that. But yeah, and then I proposed to my girlfriend in New Orleans as well.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, it was a big trip all around. But yeah, I can say left Las Vegas at 10 p.m. Was it Monday night, so less than 2 days ago. And got back here at 4 p.m. to grey skies, rain. Then I had to do my first commute into work this morning, and I was like, fuck this, I need out. I need out big time.
You made a rookie mistake. You need at least 2 days off after a long haul flight. Like, you're not a spring chicken anymore, man. And you struggle with flying anyway, so you need it. Like, I'm sure you were feeling worse for wear.
Mate, I'm feeling like 30 now. Like, I know that's not old for some people, but fuck me, it's been painful these last few days. How's everything been for you back in England whilst I've been away? What have you been up to?
Not bad, man. Not bad. You know, I'll tell you on the pods. I took a tennis lesson last week.
Fuck off! You that embarrassed by getting beaten by me the whole time.
I'm desperate to beat you next time, so I was like, maybe I should do this under the radar and then come back and beat him. But I was like, no, let me share it on the pod. Like, yeah, I took it. I was pretty good. I was all right. Like, I got some tricks that I'll bring out next time.
We are getting some social content of me beating you at tennis next time. I'm having that.
It'll be the quickest social content because our rallies last about 2 hits.
Yeah, 2 hits. Fucking hell, that's brilliant news actually to hear. Oh man, cool. I guess that's enough intro and catching up. Do you want to take a break then get into the games?
Yeah, man. Let's do it. We've got a lot to talk about.
Nice. Again, we're back. So where should we start this week, Tom? There's a few games I want to start with, but there's especially one I think we should start with.
I think there's only one place to start, and that is at the Stadium of Light.
Yes, it is.
Sunderland 3-0 victory over West Ham. It was electric there. Like, unfortunately, I wasn't there myself, but like the atmosphere was jumping through the screen.
That was my first note. Like, I wrote down of the whole thing. Like, I think we spoke about it in our predictions and a lot in the other episodes. That was going to be the banana skin to start the season.
100%.
Let anyone go in there, let alone a good team going there, let alone a team like West Ham that's going down.
It was the perfect storm for them. They played one of the weaker teams in the league in West Ham, like, who have got loads of question marks, loads of like issues throughout the team. They it was at home. They haven't been in the league for 8 years, I think it is. They're well documented. They've done a lot to improve the atmosphere since they were last in the league, when it was very bad. Like, and obviously the football was really bad, so it didn't help the atmosphere at all. But they've done a lot with like bringing in the tifos and playing like the Dragon's Den music, but in the like build up and stuff. And like they've manufactured a lot of atmosphere, but the fans have also bought into it, and it flowed through from the stands to every Sunderland player on the pitch. Every one of them the players who started, even the the 8 new signings who played, the players who had been there before, the players who came off the bench, they all were buoyed by that atmosphere incredibly. And also, one thing about the stadium is that I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying this, is the away fans aren't in the bottom, like around the pitch. They're in an upper tier, similar to like Newcastle and that. But like, it's like one of those things that really creates a really intense atmosphere. It's better for like the away players, and you can't hear your away fans as much, but you've got this like cacophonous atmosphere, and it just buoyed on the Sunderland players. And it was like the first 10 minutes, West Ham had to kind of like soak that in. Like, that was always going to happen.
Yeah.
They did that okay in the first 10 minutes. And then like throughout the rest of the first half, West Ham sort of grew into it a little bit more. But then the second half, Sunderland came back out, and as soon as they got that first goal,
it was game over, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the atmosphere just went up another notch, and then up another, and then it was just party central at the stadium.
That's the thing. Can't wait to get up there this year, and I hope the atmosphere stays like that throughout. I have a feeling it will. But yeah, I can't wait to experience that. Oh, they looked electric. Cause just once they got the goal, like you say, it was game over, and it was a matter of how many really, because they just seemed to be getting you on the break. Like it was the perfect promoted team performance. It seemed like soak it up, and then just counter with absolute.
It was really simple. Sunderland played a really simple yet effective, direct, clinical game. They did not overcomplicate this, and we'll get on to someone who did in a minute. But like Sunderland, they just went out there, and to their credit, having like 8 new starters in the first 11 and being able to like have that level of like consistency throughout the team, a level that I don't think any of them dropped lower than a 6 out of 10. No. Probably not even lower than a 7 out of 10. And then like they had a few 10 out of 10s performances. Shout out to like the 3 scorers being 3 of their promoted teams as well. Given all of the new arrivals like Mayenda Ballard and Isidore getting goals is a nice touch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's such a nice touch. Like, because I feel like when you come up, you should try and keep that spine of the team together that got you there, and like dot in class or different players around it. And yeah, it worked out for them perfectly on that day. There was just so many good points for Sunderland fans, and I think maybe that's shot us up a bit with our predictions of being like the 3 that came up are going down. So Sunderland fans can give us the middle finger after that performance, I guess.
It is game week 1.
I know.
They will play a lot better teams than West Ham. Yeah. I do a couple more things on Sunderland. Like the best player on the pitch was Habib Diarra, who they signed from Strasbourg for about 35-ish mil. Like he was head and shoulders better than everyone in my opinion. Like he is a midfielder that I'm absolutely desperate to have in the West Ham team. He carried the ball really well. He popped up in dangerous positions, but he also was really effective defensively as well. Like he was just felt like he covered every blade of grass, and he almost got a goal in the first half. Like he was just like he looked immediately comfortable at this level. Immediately looked like the best player on the pitch. And yeah, if just taking one game's performance, like that guy's going to go far. And he's like, I think he's 23, so like they've got him at an amazing age, and I expect him to go on to have a really good season.
Yeah, it feels like there have been some true signings. I'm not going to lie, I was sat there and like you see on the Premier League Instagram, all the Sunderland signings coming in, and I won't admit that I know who half the players are, because I'm not that into like players from overseas like I was when I was playing FIFA every day of my life at uni. But yeah, you feel like if they can get the best out of all these new signings, and with the players that are already there, it could be an enjoyable season for Sunderland. I mean, it's a good Premier League adventure no matter what. And one thing I have to say as well, they're looking fucking stylish in their kits as well. I think they've probably got the best kits out of anyone in the league, which it's Hummel, isn't it? So they always bring up bangers.
Kits are nice as well. Yeah, I mean, also just want to shout out to Granit Xhaka. It was a peak Granit Xhaka performance. Like he was making every tackle. A couple of them were like orange cards, I would say. There was one that they didn't show in the match of the day highlights that he went in studs up on Ward-Prowse, and like obviously as a West Ham fan, I'm baying for blood there, but they got away with one. I don't think they were ever going to send off a player for Sunderland, given the atmosphere and everything. But outside of those on the line tackles, those forceful tackles of him, he was making really good progressive passes as well. Like he was starting off loads of the attacks, especially once the game got into that later stages where West Ham are pushing and Sunderland are just breaking up play and then pinging forward on the counter attack. Like it was Granit Xhaka starting a lot of those.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him as a bit of a rogue signing for him, because in my head I always remember him when he was subbed off against Palace and he was giving the Arsenal fans the finger. It's just I always think that. But when you think about it, as captain as well for them, isn't he? If he's going to be a midfield enforcer and bring experience to the side, you've got to look at it maybe as a good sign. It's just, if he keeps that consistency throughout the season, I guess we'll just see as it goes on, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, Xhaka's always gone through different phases of his career, especially at his Arsenal time. He went through periods where he was loved and he was the best player, and then he went through other periods of being absolutely hounded out. But I think Sunderland fans are going to absolutely love him if he's putting in that effort in every game this season.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So yeah, we can give Sunderland their plaudits for sure. And now we'll move on to the bit I've been looking forward to most.
So moving on to the next game.
Oh, God. But I want to start. You said, there are many problems West Ham had. I think one of your biggest problems is, what the fuck are you doing bringing in a keeper from Leicester?
I mean, I didn't mind Hermanson last year. For Leicester, I saw he had. He had a game against us where he made 17 saves or something incredible. But I am slightly concerned about his T-Rex arms.
That's another thing. So I've noted down each goal, and I think maybe the second goal, fair enough, but the first goal is one of those goals that looks like it shouldn't go in, but maybe it's great placement and the keeper just can't get to it. But I'm also it looks weird because maybe keepers usually save that one, and then the third one just goes through him.
Yeah, the third one's unacceptable. I think he sees it late, but it literally hits his hand. He has to at least be able to get enough on that to take it out for a corner. He doesn't get enough on that. That one's not acceptable. The first two, I completely agree, were especially the first one, because it's headed into the ground. It feels like there's ages between when it's headed and when it goes into the side of the net. All I have to think is that it literally almost hits the post on the side of the net. So it is as far away to the side as possible, but still it's even in real time I was it felt like an agonising amount of time from the header to it touching the net.
It is that, isn't it? I feel like if a Benteke or a Lukaku or someone scores that header, you sit there and absolute great placement, with the head, from the big man. But because it isn't a well-known name, you're maybe the keeper should have done better. But I do think it was probably placed just perfectly. And then second goal was just pure class from what I saw as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's an issue with clearing your lines from a West Ham point of view. They sort of a corner breaks down and then they kind of just, they're all still settled in there. They don't clear out, they don't attack the cross well enough, and then it comes back, and then Ballard, who's incredible in the air anyway, he just finds a perfect touch, a perfect header on it. Obviously Sunderland fans well know his ability in the air after given the playoff semi-final and that. So yeah, you can't be letting Ballard have a free header in the box, and yeah, I mean they were generally sloppy goals to concede from my point of view. The
Paquetá one doesn't fill you with hope, does it? I mean, maybe it's just a bit of sloppiness at the beginning of the season. That's one thing you want to put it down to. But I mean, the thing you'd hope is, tell me if I'm wrong, obviously, because you're from the West Ham perspective. You'd kind of hope they would come into the season hitting the ground with Potter ending the season so badly, just wanting to be cool, we're gonna fucking show some bollocks for the fans right at the beginning, no matter what. And it's kind of just a bit deflating, and it's all a bit meh to start with.
Yeah, I mean, everything in pre-season sounded amazing. All the vibes that were coming out of the camp were really good. The results, we were getting some good results in the pre-season games, which I never look at the actual score, but as long as the play, there's getting some goals and sort of not conceding too many, like that's fine. Like I don't really care what the pre-season results are, but it was like he had settled on this formation of 3-5-2, 5-3-2 sort of thing, and it just feels like Potter's overcomplicating it. Like where Sunderland was so simple yet effective, and they just put like best players in their best positions. They had enough bodies in each of the areas. Like I think that they played 4-3-3, so that they had the same amount of bodies in midfield, but they had much more legs and energy than we did. They had the same amount of bodies as we did in like against our centre backs, so you don't really gain anything from that. Wan-Bissaka and Diouf, like I'm not a big fan of playing wing backs because I like wingers. I think you want your best like attacking threats from the wing to be wingers. Like I can understand sometimes you can get that from wing backs, but for me it doesn't feel as consistent. And if you're playing like 3-5 at the back and you're conceding 3 goals, you're also not getting the defensive boost that you get from having an extra defender in those situations.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I feel like, I don't know if it's the third goal or one of them, it's just like they're in behind Diouf, and it's just a bit like, oh, I feel for him because, yeah, if you're playing that system, it's easily to be picked apart by a team that's going to take you on the break as well. So if your wing backs ain't switched on, like you're fucked. But Diouf going forward looked class for you. I'll give him that. Like he had a chance to make it 2-1, was it? Which you probably was it?
No, 1-0. Yeah, it was the first. Yeah, so in the first half, West Ham played pretty well. At half time, I was kind of happy. Like they settled the crowd down throughout the first half. They had a couple of chances. Diouf and Bowen in particular. Sunderland had a couple of chances as well. It wasn't West Ham dominating, but it was like, all right, fine, 0-0 at half time. Take it and like try and come out in the second half, but they didn't turn up in the second half at all. And then, yeah.
Who you got next week?
Chelsea.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier for us. We've got Chelsea, then Forest, then like Tottenham and stuff. So like we've got a tough start.
Yeah, it could be no goals, no points for quite a while.
Wow. Yeah, that's fun.
Cool. Let's move on to what, Forest Brentford. I think you might be eating your words on this one as well. What was so scoreline, obviously, for anyone that didn't see it, Forest 3, Brentford 1. Who was the scorers for Forest, and what was your prediction for this season for one of the scorers?
Well, Chris Wood has got about, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but about 30% of what I said he would get for the season in one game.
5 goals.
7. I said 7. So like, all right, he's got 5 more to the end of the season. Like, so Wood gets 2, and Ndoye gets the other, and then Igor Thiago scored a penalty for Brentford late on. Yeah, Wood made an absolute fool of me in this one. He looked as sharp as he did in the first several months of last season before the team sort of tailed off. But yeah, he were like the 2 goals that he took were peak Chris Wood. Like
really were. Like I don't know if it was the perfect opponents in Brentford who we'll obviously go on to, but like you say, it just felt like picked up where he left off before the blip at the end of the season, and he looked confident. He looked great. I was not expecting it. I was fully on board with your prediction of like.
I mean, like they still have the European games to come. So like, once the campaign gets fully underway, they're playing Thursday, Sunday. Is Chris Wood taking the Sundays off, and they've got this new striker Arnaud Kalimuendu, who they signed from Rennes. They've also got the Brazilian guy that they signed earlier in the summer. I think Igor. I think Jesus is his name. And like, so they'll probably rotate a lot more, and maybe that prediction like comes true. But anyway, he made a fool out of me in game 1. But Forest came out and were electric in this game.
Bossed the midfield big time, like with
100%.
Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson. I think one of the assists for Wood from Elliot Anderson, where it's like a tackle pass and it's pure perfection.
Yeah, the tackle pass is amazing. Like it looks like he's going to go in for like a blocking tackle, and then he just absolutely like daisy cutters the ball, and it just goes like right, like 40 yards it must have gone into Chris Wood's path, like who's already turning and making the run as soon as he sees Anderson going in for what looked like a tackle at first. Like he knows that like even if Anderson's gonna, even if it doesn't like come off straight away, if Anderson wins that ball, he's going to be looking over the top for Chris Wood, and yeah, that was just like, that was easily the pick of the goals. It was great.
It's just a frontman's dream, that really. But then Forest were just like a pleasure to watch in the middle as well. That was
yeah.
it's
I think
annoying.
a lot of that is down to Morgan Gibbs-White in this game. Like he looked at his absolute best, and they've done an absolute wonder of being able to convince him to stick around this summer, sign another contract. Like, okay, that might be not a long-term thing. He might leave next summer, whatever. But like this year, like they're able to get another year out of him, and he looks primed to take another step forward. Like he had a really, really good season last year. Maybe tailed off a little bit towards the end, like the rest of the Forest team did. But like he looks fresh, ready to go again this year, and I think he's in line for another great season and getting some European experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk about like the Newcastle Villa game because it's a 0-0, but you felt like they'd be missing some bits like Elanga did in that game, where you see like his electric pace picking up the ball and like cutting through Villa, but you just didn't feel like they missed him in this game. But I feel like maybe that's down to Brentford as well. Like the only note I made that was good for Brentford was that. Oh no, this wasn't even a good comment actually. I was just saying that that away kit was a bit much for me, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of that. No, it didn't look like Brentford kit, and it also just didn't like. Yeah, it didn't look like a nice kit either.
No, I'm always one for a bit of a Larry and weird looking kit, but that was a bit.
It didn't look like that Larry. I think it's quite plain. Like I don't think there's. I think
the colours are Larry, but it's a plain design that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
like it didn't look like a sports shirt. It just looked a bit like. Bleh. But
no, yeah. But I mean, Brentford were all over the shop defensively. Like for each of the goals, there's like I think the first one, there's three defenders on Chris Wood, and he has a free shot. Like there's the three defenders right in front of him, but none of them making like a tackle or like doing enough to put him off. And it just continued throughout the game. Like there were so many opportunities where Forest were dominating them, like causing chaos in the Brentford defence, and as well as that, like they just didn't look like they had much quality in attack. Like I actually thought Brentford, like this season, the defence was what would keep them up, sort of thing. Like they that's where they had the most holdover consistency from last year. Like I rate Nathan Collins as a centre back and some of the other pieces that they've got there, but that was where they looked worst in this game, and whether that's that like maybe down to the manager. I think it's one of those things that we probably need to see a bit more of before we judge it 100%. Maybe it was just like an off day start, the first game of the season. They might not have been in their best situation. Forest are a very challenging opponent.
Yeah, I think if you go 1-0 down to Forest in the first 5 minutes here, you're in trouble, because then they're just gonna cut you to pieces, really. But I don't want to get too doom or gloom for Brentford. I still think they'll be fine, but it's easy to look doom and gloom when they're lost in Buemo, and now they look like they're losing Visser with him basically. Yeah,
well they couldn't play Visser because his head's been turned by Newcastle, and that looks like it's destined to go through before the end of the window. The silver lining for me was that Igor Thiago played a game. Like they signed him last summer, and he got a really bad injury throughout, so wasn't really able to make any impact last year. So he played and he scored the penalty. Like, okay, it's a penalty, but still got to put it in the back of the net.
Did you think it was a definite penalty? I feel like it probably was a penalty, but it felt a bit harsh as well at the same time.
Yeah, I think that one was just about. I think there's some like more debatable ones coming in our next game, but like
we got our old friend coming back to talk about later in this pod.
We do.
Yeah, but I don't know as much else to touch on the game really. Like great day for Forest, shit day for Brentford. The only thing like I want to touch on, and this isn't me being salty because of all the Palace Forest shit that's going on, but how the fuck have Forest spent so much money again? Like I don't get it.
They've been on a spree in the last like week or so. Like it's like every time I look at my phone, they're like they've signed a new player for 30 mil. Like,
do you have any insight into how they're doing that? Because it's not like they've sold players for a lot. What did Elanga go for? 40 odd? Or was it
50? I
60
think
odd?
52.
50? Like that's still not enough to be bringing in. What they brought Hutchinson in on about 37 and a
35,
half,
yeah, something like that.
which is an outrageous amount for him. If I'm being brutally honest, Maxey coming
Yeah.
in for I don't know what the feel was for that. It's a decent sign, I think, for him. But now today they've been linked to all the here we go from that prick Romano. That Douglas Luiz is going there. On
Yeah,
like
for another 30-ish mil, I think that's in euros. But yeah, I don't know whether they're anticipating like balance in the books because of they've got Europe. They're probably also, I envisage Hutchinson as a probably long-term Gibbs White replacement. Like, you know, you don't always have to balance the books each summer. It could be a situation where they go, all right, we've got the European money this year. We've sold Elanga, like. They didn't. Endoy was cheaper than Elanga, so there's a little bit of money there as well. And then they know that they're probably going to get a big fee next summer for Gibbs White, like that's just, or maybe Murillo or someone like that. Like, so, and they haven't really spent defensively either. So, like, all of these players are like attackers, and yeah, I there's probably, I mean, as Marinakis, there's probably something dodgy going on somewhere along the way, but
he's Greek
I think
like me,
that's my reasoning for it.
He's Greek like me, so there's going to be something dodgy going on. But yeah, I think that's everything touching that game. And yeah, I, as a Palace fan, have no bitter feelings towards Forest. We have them this Sunday, and I'm sure it's going to be a tetchy atmosphere between some Palace fans and Forest fans. But yeah, I've got no hard feelings. I've got my Forest mate coming with me, so yeah. And I wish Forest the best of luck in the Europa League, and I'll enjoy my shitty Conference League days.
You enjoy playing Friedrichstad?
Yeah, mate, I'm trying to figure out the logistics, because I got my ticket for the away game. I'm trying to figure out the logistics, how to get there. I think I'm going to have to fly to Gothenburg, or however you say it in Sweden, get a 2-hour train there, 2-hour train back, and then fly back from there, because the Oslo flight's a nightmare. But
yeah, I've been to Gothenburg. It's nice.
Is it actually?
It's actually a really nice place.
Okay,
No,
Mr. Well-travelled European over here.
I did a little interrail summer. Don't worry. Tell you all about it. Yeah, let's move on to our next game. Let's go to Elland Road, I think. Leeds 1, Everton 0. This was a weird little game.
Yeah, I'm going to caveat before we start talking about this game. I had just got back from Heathrow at this point, and I was like, cool, I'm going to stick this game on, hopefully watch it and go to sleep. I got to about just after half time and I was asleep, because this game fucking bored me to begin with.
That is fair enough. Like, given the situation, I'll allow it. Like, I mean, even I was watching it with half an eye at times, because it was just a weird one. Like, in the first half, Leeds completely dominated.
Yeah,
like,
they really did, didn't they? Like, I wasn't expecting that. I thought Everton under Moyes, and like in my prediction saying they're going to have a great season, I thought they'd be like rock solid at the back, wouldn't give Leeds a chance to break them down, but they were fucking hammering down the door.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was really like one of those situations where it's like you have to score. Like, they don't. It wasn't that they necessarily created loads of shots, but they just like played the whole first half in Everton's defensive half. They were creating some shots and some chaos, but it was like that amount of pressure and that amount of like territorial like situation. You need to capitalise on that, really, like, or you want to anyway, because in the second half Everton came out and controlled things a lot better. Like, they weren't creating as many chances as Leeds did in the first half. They weren't necessarily as exciting as Leeds were. Like, it wasn't Leeds' domination came from more of a high press, like pounce on, like make Everton make a mistake and regain the ball really quickly. Everton's domination came a lot from like controlled passing, midfield defenders, like working it from side to side to try and find an angle, but they weren't able to, and they didn't really create many chances out of that control either.
Nah. Did Dominic Calvert-Lewin get on for Leeds by any chance as well?
No, he wasn't in the squad.
I
don't think it's trained enough.
So I turned it on. I was like, I'm hoping to see that moment, to see how Everton fans go about it. To be fair, they probably have been quite respectful about it. But yeah, what did you make of the penalty? Because I saw a lot of stuff kicking off about it afterwards.
I thought it was truly bizarre how it was not overturned. I think in real time, I understand it. Like, I think from the angle we had in real time, it looks like he has like lent his arm is maybe slightly further out from his body than it actually was, and like because he's leaning towards the ball, that looked like a handball. But then you see the replays and he's like, as much as possible, trying to put his arm behind his back. Like, I don't think he can get his arm any further behind his back, and he's still trying to block the ball with his torso. So I think it was a really harsh decision on Tarkowski for that not to be overturned.
Do you think maybe VAR and the type of game it is, Leeds like first game at home, there's a bit of bias towards that, just for the story?
I don't think it's that. I think there might be a case of we might be seeing it because there's a couple of other incidents as well where the VAR is not getting involved unless it is like very clear and wrong, which is probably fine. But like this was one that I probably would have said, like, I don't think many Leeds fans would have argued that much if it had been overturned. Like, once you see the result, like the replays in slow-mo and like his arm is so close to his body, a couple of years ago they were banging on about giving the defenders the benefit of the doubt, and in that situation there was just zero benefit of the doubt given to Everton.
Yeah, mate, it's the beginning of the season though. It's like we're going to see these weird fucking things coming in. Like, we'll talk about one major one in the Spurs-Burnley game later, but yeah, I feel like it's going to be, what is it, calibrating refereeing, isn't it? Like, trying to figure out how they're going to do stuff for this new season, and they go to the extremes to begin with, and then it goes back to normal after 3-4 games.
Yeah.
But I got nothing else to talk about that game, and because we're talking about referees, should we move on to the next game where we have our favourite cunt of the week to talk about?
Just before we get on to him, I just want to say that Altanaka and Ethan Ampadu were class for Leeds. Like, those like two midfielders who are going to make the step up really well. Like, but yes, let's move on to our, what was it, shithouse of the season? No, he wasn't our shithouse of the season.
What was it?
He was our flop of the season.
Flop of the season.
Our flop of the season from last year was refereeing the game down at the Amex.
And it was so clear it was hit. Like, even just watching Match of the Day highlights, I was like, didn't see who the ref was, but I saw how the game was going. I was like, this geezer's lost control, and I can tell he's lost control from a fucking Match of the Day package. And of course, it was Mr. Samuel Barrett. Like, it was atrocious, some of the stuff in that game. And I don't want to say I feel for Brighton, because I don't, but what the fuck, man? Like,
I mean, as soon as I saw one of the incidents, I was like, who's the referee in this match? And immediately just like showed him, and I was like, yes, it's the Sam Barrett of it all. Like, I just knew this one was going to, like, there were going to be incidents throughout this one that were, some of them were going to be right, some of them were going to be wrong. The one that I have the biggest problem with is the no penalty decision for Fulham that Josh King,
when he
gets the ball and Ayari just like, Ayari's going for the ball, but he kicks Josh King's foot. Like, it's just like, you see those given every week. Like,
every fucking week. Like, I guess, okay, we can shit on Sam Barrett for that, but also VAR has looked at it and said no when he's clearly kicked it. It's like the most easy to give penalty. And I'm happy you said that, because if I said as a Palace fan, it's like, obviously against Brighton bias, but it's so clear, man. Like, so clear.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, maybe it's a direction that the referees have been given to not overturn things as much this season, because that was one that I was like, yeah, we've seen that overturned in every season for the last few years, like since VAR has been involved. Like, that's been one that they always kind of go, yeah, he didn't get the ball first, he got kicked by the defender, that's a penalty. But this time they just decided it wasn't going to be. And the Bassi one, I'm fine with it not being. I think it's
that one. I think
probably a strong shoulder barge.
Yeah,
but I'm all for that. I'm all for that not being a penalty. That's fine.
Yeah, I feel like you see that like at games and you just accept it. Like, that's not a pen. it's just the way it is. You're kind of happy that's not given it as a pen. I think from my notes, like Brighton looked dangerous in attack. You got to give them that, but I think they still left a lot to be desired in defence, like in the game. I think Fulham had their chances, and it did look like an interesting game to watch. And I think it was probably a matter of time till Fulham got the goal, and then they snatched it at the end with the rebound from the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brighton will be really disappointed with themselves that they didn't put the game to bed. Like, they were 1-0 up, they had some decent chances. Like, there's one specifically for me where the pass from Diego Gomez to Bray and Gruder is too heavy, and Gruder gets pushed away a little bit further, makes the angle really tight, and he ends up firing it across goal, rather than if the pass was a little bit softer, he would have had a much better angle and probably scored, and then it's 2-0. But like, there were a couple of other chances for Brighton as well to get that second. But I completely agree. Like, I think a draw was fair in this game. Like, it goes against the stats. Like, Brighton had a much better XG than Fulham, but like watching
great.
yeah,
Like,
but like watching the
chances.
highlights. Yeah, that's the thing. It's maybe just an accumulation of quite a few like half chances, whereas Fulham's chances, especially as the game got on, looked like more and more. It was funny. I saw some clip on TikTok of old Paul Merson saying that during the game that there was no chance Fulham were going to get back into this, and then but it was like when I was watching it, it was like, yeah, very much feels like Fulham are going to get back into it. Like,
Was it just before they score, isn't it? Tete has the miss from like 2 yards out. I don't know how he skies it completely, but
yeah,
when
I mean,
he
that's
does
when
that,
your right back is taking a shot in it.
yeah, it is. But that happens in I think the 91st minute. And I think if you're a Fulham fan, you're thinking, oh, that's the game gone there. So to come back and get that last minute winner, you'd be buzzing.
But like,
great.
that's the one thing that Fulham have got in their absolutely got in their tank. Like, it's shown by like the last season and this game of their sub scoring. Like, they have a never say die attitude. Like, they've shown it time and time again. Like, they'll go until the final minute, and like this one, they went until the final minute to find that equaliser. So many other teams would have gone, it's not our day. That Tete chance happens. The Emil Smith Rowe one goes wide just after being deflected. That leads to the corner. So many other teams would have like just been like, it's not our day. Chucked in a ball that gets easily cleared or collected by a keeper, and then they lose the game. But Fulham, they had it last year. I think they had 17 players score from off the bench over the course of the season, and like Muniz did it again in this game. So like, that's something that looks like it can continue because of what Marco Silva presses into this team of like, the game's not done. You keep going until the final whistle, which is like an amazing mentality to have, especially as a fan of one of those teams. Like, you're always, if you're in with a chance in the game, like, you're always in with a shout because of the mentality of your players.
It is that. Do you think if we had Hugo here to talk about, do you think Fulham have done enough business to strengthen in that midfield area?
They've not done any business.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So I think he'll be rude. I think Hugo will not be happy right now. But one thing I would say is like, they might not need to do business because the young lad Josh King looks very talented. Like, he looked comfortable at this level. He was making quick passes, getting into space, making like playing 1-2s, getting into the box as well, like putting in a couple of tackles. Like I know Fulham fans think very, very highly of young Josh King. Like, that's their next sort of starlet to come through after like the likes of Carvalho, Harvey Elliott, etc. Like, they've got a good recent record with young players like Ryan Sessegnon, etc. And I think they've got high hopes for Josh King.
So you're just saying that it's the next player that's gonna end up at Liverpool from them?
Well, it's probably the next player they'll make a lot of money on. Yeah, I'll say that.
But no, I think I agree with you. That 1-1 was probably the deserved result from the game if Brian weren't gonna shut the door on them. But yeah, anything else to touch on that game, or should we move on to the next one?
No, let's move on.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I guess we'll go Anfield then for Liverpool 4, Bournemouth 2. I think there's probably only one place to start with the game, and obviously it's the disgusting acts of the racism towards Semenyo from a geezer in a wheelchair of all things, which was a bit
yeah.
odd,
I mean, absolutely despicable. There's no place in the game for that. Like it's just something we have to eradicate in society and in football as well. Like it's disgusting that it's 2025 and it still goes on. Football needs to do a much better job. There needs to be much more like society, like training and everything. And yeah, just fuck racists is what I want to say about that.
Yeah, do you think for once football dealt with it quite well? Like Semenyo's Instagram post afterwards saying like he'll remember it for basically how football came together on that day, and he felt like a lot of faith from his teammates, like how the referee dealt with it and how like it was dealt with like all around. I think that was the tiniest of silver linings out of such a shit situation. Would you agree?
Yeah, but from what I saw, the guy stayed in the stadium until the
Did
end.
he? Oh, I thought he got wheeled out.
I mean, maybe I didn't see the confirmed report of that, but I mean, I know he's been banned and everything now, but it's like, shouldn't even be able to get to that point. Like, shouldn't have that. Like, we shouldn't be allowing that at all. Like, I'm sure it's not the first time this guy has said something. Like,
Nah, it won't be either.
Like, I'm sure he said it's been leading up to that. Like, I mean, I don't know if Antoine Semenyo is happy with the way it was handled, then that's fine. But I'm more of the opinion that actual serious ramifications need to happen, and players should feel entitled to walk off the pitch, and clubs should be docked points if like we're ever actually going to make serious strides with
that's the only way to
with
stop
anti-racism,
it, really,
is to punish the clubs, because the fans of the clubs will stop doing that as soon as they start feeling the ramifications of it in those ways. You can target individuals all you want, but you're not going to target the problem if you're just targeting individuals.
Because then it's going to stop everyone in the stadium as well, like go against those people reported and then actually something come of it. But I guess Semenyo did the best thing to stick two fingers up at it all and came into prime Semenyo that we known to come in love on this, I guess. Like, he's been our talking point for Bournemouth all last season. He started this season by being our talking point, and yeah, I think I put in my notes basically, hopefully this is going to be a season where a performance like that isn't just a one-off. It's going to be like linking them together and being like absolutely shit hot throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, he was pure class in this game. That second goal was unreal. Like, just like there was like the carrying ability. Like, you could see the Liverpool defenders were scared to tackle him. Like, it was like, oh, they don't know what he might make them look a fool if they try and go in for a tackle.
Hey, that's one Van Dijk was running away from him. Like, that's one of these things. Like, my close mates will know. I'm absolutely rattled by the Van Dijk never got dribble past stat. And I'm just there like, try and prove it now. He's fucking running away from people dribbling at him. Like, I don't know why it's rattled me my whole like few seasons since that thing came out. And like, he got dribbled past by Sarr in the Community Shield. He's been dribbled past here. Like, get in the box, old man. Like, fucking, you're not that great. He's very good, but you're not that great. But yeah, I thought Bournemouth showed a lot in the game. Once again, just a bit like Brighton, I think the back is probably a bit of an issue. I don't think going forward they have anything to worry about, but the back, like, you can't lose.
I mean, for me, it's Senesi needs upgrading. Like, I thought because he'd been around there and he was in the team before Huijsen sort of took over last season that he might be all right, but in this game he really struggled. Like, I can't really judge Bafode Diakite next to him. I thought he played pretty well, but he'd only had 2 training sessions with the team beforehand, and then you go to Anfield on a Friday night, like opening game of the season. Like, that's a almost impossible task for a defender. But Senesi is someone who's been around Bournemouth for a while. Like, he's experienced player. Like, he should have been, and he was just making like silly mistakes. He was caught out of position quite a lot, and he wasn't making some tackles, and quite a few of the goals were like down to him. Like,
there's one of them that like goes for his legs, isn't it? Like a rebound. I mean, that's unfortunate. A rebound and goes to Ekitike and goes in. But if we're talking about Zanetti, let's be honest, he shouldn't have been on the fucking pitch. Like, that VAR, out of all the VARs this weekend, that is the most unforgivable one for me. Like, how that wasn't given a red. Like, and I don't want Liverpool winning games. Like, I don't want any of the top 6 winning games or bias towards them. But that was a blatant handball, and
it was obvious. Like, and it was crazy that it wasn't even looked at, or like it wasn't like like the referee come over to have a look at it or something. Like,
Well, what is it like? Apparently, the VAR cleared it because they looked at the first like bit that was a close handball, but they didn't. They missed the swipe afterwards where he actually hits it, and it's just like, fuck me, man. Is it really going to be this bad for this point, like start of the season? Like, it's just hard to accept. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, I guess also I don't think we've mentioned on the podcast, but obviously everything that happened with Diego Jota, like, absolutely horrid thing to happen. And yeah, I think we put everything out there for him and his family as well.
Yeah, amazing sort of like celebration of his life this weekend at all of the games. Loads like the Wolves game as well was really touching. The Liverpool fans and like the Bournemouth fans getting involved in that as well. Like, yeah, it's a very, very sad, shocking event, and yeah, just hope all of his family are okay.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest services I can do is that I absolutely hated him whenever he came to Cellar, so it showed he was a pretty good player. He was getting under my skin every single time we played Liverpool. Yeah. Cool. Anything else you want to touch on that game? I feel like we got off all the main points.
Yeah, I mean, I think just overall it was a harsh result for Bournemouth. I think they played pretty well and just sort of succumbed to the chaotic ending and the atmosphere that Anfield had on the opening day of the season. I think I saw enough from Bournemouth that I think they'll be fine this season, and they've still got some time in the window. They've signed a couple of other players, so I'm sure they'll be all right.
Yeah, I put in my notes. It's like I think it's a bit too early to be judging Bournemouth just yet for me. Like, first day, like you said, at Anfield, you can't really take much from that. Once they get that third goal, they're probably going to get the fourth because it goes through the roof. We've been at matches and know what it's like when the home crowd gets on top of you. But I think attack fine. You just got to see what they do about the defence and if they can keep solid. And I think they got a manager there that keeps them in a good way throughout the whole season as well. Like, I thought they would be shambolic against Liverpool in this game, but Iriola knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Like, can't deny that one little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I think we can spin through these next few pretty quick, given it's a couple of quite heavy defeats and then some 0-0s. So let's go to Spurs 3, Burnley 0. I don't have a lot really here. Let's
just talk about the main thing: the fucking corner for 8 seconds holding the ball, which will be implemented that once, never ever again. Burnley will be a fucking pub quiz question on like. To Bravka will be a pub quiz question on who was the only person to ever have it implemented, and it's only going to happen in a game like this where it's Burnley against Spurs at Spurs, a big club against a small club. Yeah, just fuck off with the rule. Yes.
I'm here for the rule.
I'm here for the rule,
but if it actually gets enforced throughout a season, we'll see. Like, I just have no faith that it will.
If this got enforced in any other game this week, and because I'll sit there, I imagine every other goalkeeper has holding onto it for longer than 8 seconds, and no one's enforced it. It's an easy one for someone to do to a club that they're going to feel like no one really cares if we do it to them. Do you know what I mean? It's just...
Oh, 100%, yeah. I mean, they were never going to get that, like, grace in this game away from home as well. Like, it was always... they upheld the rule, but yeah, we'll see if it actually gets held up throughout the season. It's very unlikely, in my opinion.
I don't want to go too deep in on Burnley on this one because I feel like I've just upset Burnley fans because I don't think it's very good.
No, I mean, I think it's hard to judge them, and I don't think they were ever going to do anything against Spurs, who are in a much better place than Burnley are right now. They're much more sort of they've got a lot of sort of new signings, the new manager and stuff. Like, it was always going to be a really, really tough game for Burnley. Like, they didn't have the luck of the draw that Leeds and Sunderland did of getting a home fixture as your first game and stuff. So I'm not reading too much into this from a Burnley point of view. Like, they defended deep. It was a bit messy at times. It's the first game of the season against a Big Six team. Like, I think that's enough on them, and hopefully we'll see. I mean, they've got Sunderland next, I believe. So we'll get more into them next week.
Yeah, that's a big game. It's so stupid to say this, but that feels like not a 6-pointer, but a big game. I feel like they're going to need to get momentum quickly. Do you know what I mean? Because another devastating defeat like that could not be good for Scott Parker with his record in the Premier League before. Like, it's a lot where it could just be snowballing. But like you say, I think leave it there, and we'll sweep that one under the rug for Burnley fans, and hopefully next week coming back we can have a bit more detail and a few more positives for them.
Yeah. So moving on to the Molineux, we had Wolves 0, Man City 4. This one, I think Wolves created some good chances. Strand Larsen on another day probably could have had a hat trick.
Yeah, I was going to say he had a lot of cutback chances, which like you said, on another day he's probably slotted in a couple of those for back in the back of the net. But I think City were just too good. That Dutch geezer they had in what's his name?
Yeah, Tiani Reinders.
He did look like the dog's bollocks in all honesty from what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, you come up against a team who can spend money at free will. Like, first game of the season, it's always going to be difficult. I think my one criticism of Wolves was they were too open defensively. Like, there were times where Erling Haaland was so free, for both of his goals. He had no defender anywhere near him, and he was like, one of them is a tap in, and the other one he just arrives into the box, and there's absolutely no defender within like 10 yards of him, and like that's the kind of situation where it's like, all right, you're not helping yourself at all there, Wolves. Like,
but do you
know
think
the situation, you know the opposition, like.
But do you think with Wolves and even with Brentford a bit, like these results and this defending has come because they've not got those forward outlets anymore? So it is basically like they're having to overcommit in defence, and then they're losing the ball and it's coming back at them, and eventually they're going to be like run out of position because they're just back too much and panicking. Do you feel
Possibly.
like that's the thing with it? It's just I mean, once again, there's not too much we can take from the game really. Who do Wolves have next week? Actually, let's see.
They have Bournemouth,
and then they got a nice easy game in the EFL Cup as well. After that, on my birthday.
Yeah, we've got them. Great, another Premier League team in the League Cup. That's so much fun. Thanks, League Cup. Thanks, Carabao. All right, let's go quickfire 0-0s. I will just run through these. Crystal Palace Chelsea. It was the right call to disallow Eze's goal. Mark Gahey is within a metre of the wall. Plus, he's also absolutely just pushed Caicedo out of the way. No. Next, Newcastle are screaming out for a striker. It was the most obvious thing of the weekend. You can't play Anthony Gordon as a number 9. And number 3, Villa, very, very relieved to get a point. That is a bloody good point for Villa to get. Again, like they got routinely outplayed in this game, and they did not turn up. Ezri Konsa goes off, and they held on for a point.
Yeah, they went into their shells and fucking backs to the wall after that. Like, oh, cool. Okay, so that's Tom's quickfire column there. Cool. Okay, should we take a break then get on to Peak Barclays men and predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're back, and I've been excited for this all of the summer break. We're getting back our Peak Barclays men section. So, Tom, who do you have for us Peak Barclays this week?
We've got a proper bargain. A journeyman who took the Premier League by storm in South Wales. The streets will never forget Michu.
Remember the celebration? Absolutely.
Iconic celebration.
I do that when I do something right at work, I realise. Like, I'm there, like, or like I'm thinking, I'm like there. Like, I was like, why have I picked this up? And I think it's just because it was probably like the Soccer Saturday video where it's like him doing a celebration, like going through with like the gold, like going behind him. But yeah, iconic player. Thinking the Swansea white and black kid, obviously the League Cup winning season against Bradford, was it they had in the final of all people?
Yeah, they battered Bradford in the final. Michu scored in that game. Overall, in the Premier League, he got 52 appearances, 20 goals. The first season, he absolutely took the league by storm. They got him for 2.3 mil from Rayo Vallecano. He'd only had one season in La Liga, but he had scored 15 goals in there. But before that, he was dotting about in the lower leagues of Spain. His first season in the Premier League, he got 18 Premier League goals. Like, he just absolutely, like, no one knew who this player was at that time. The scouting wasn't where it is at this point. So, like, we got this player who arrived for a bargain fee, and he just completely took the league by storm. He
really did. Like, I would have loved to have been able to go down to the Liberty Stadium during this period, because I was there, like, for the 5-4 where they scored 2 against us in the last 92 minutes onwards, and that place can fucking shake when it's going. So I would have loved to have seen what it was like when Michu was absolutely banging them in for him in his black gloves, like white Under Armour, absolute icon of that Premier League, and the biggest one season wonder, maybe, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, for English football, I'd say so, because he struggled in the next season, and then he went off to Napoli on loan after that, and then his career was pretty much done. He actually, after his Napoli season, so at the end of 2015, he rejected a big contract from Aston Villa.
Really?
Under Tim Sherwood, they were like, we're going to back you to recover from your injury issues. Like, we'll give you a lot of, like he said, like, it's a crazy decision to not sign the contract because of the money that was being offered, but he knew his ankles weren't going to hold up, and even though the doctors had medically cleared him to play and stuff, he just I was reading an interview with him, and he was like, I just knew I wouldn't be able to honour that contract well enough, and it would have been like stealing money. And if you remember, at that time, Villa were handing out big money contracts to a lot of not very good signings. I think of like Yamika Richards and stuff. Like, they were like, Tim Sherwood's Villa were like splashing the cash badly, and it was. When reading this, I was like, yeah, that shoe fits very well.
Yeah, you gotta respect a player to be able to do that, because at the end of the day, like, I know we probably don't think about footballers and their livelihoods, but that's his livelihood. Like, if he's not got another contract then and his ankle does go, like, he's fucked, really.
Yeah, well, he rejected that contract and went off to play for amateur Spanish side Langreo, who were coached by his brother at the time. So, like, Michu is a proper football romantic, I would say. Like, reading up on his career, like, there's lots of things like that ring true on that. Like, I don't have a crazy stat for him, or like crazy thing that he's up to or anything, because he's not actually that far. Like, he's not that old. He's not had that much sort of change in his life, but in his career, he did once reject a move to play in La Liga for the first time in his career, as the buying club were Sporting Gijón, who are rivals of his boyhood club Real Oviedo. And everyone around him was like, "You're crazy! Why are you rejecting the chance to move to La Liga, like to take the step up to Spain's top flight?" And he was like, "I can't do it to Oviedo." So, a proper football romantic. He later got that chance to move into La Liga with Rayo Vallecano, and then came the incredible Premier League season. And yeah, he's just unbelievable, Michu. I think he's one that everyone will agree is a peak Barclaysman.
Yeah, and I think everyone will remember him from that period, because it was that period of the Premier League. I think a lot of us fell in love with it. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is iconic for a lot of fans. I think like the Sky Sports like intro, like kind of thing, like montage kind of thing, always had Michu in it for years and stuff. And like, yeah, that was a very memorable era of my football watching, as well as I was at university at the time. So me and my mate Skilly were often down the bar watching the Sunday games and that. But yeah, randomly, he is Erling Haaland's idol. I say idol. He once posted a picture of him. Erling Haaland posted a picture of himself on Instagram and tagged himself as Michu when he was like 19.
Oh, I love that. Where do you think we're slotting him in on our Peak Barclays then? I'm trying to
give me the list.
Our list, which we have. Do we have Mark Viduka? Yeah, we have Mark Viduka at the top. Then Morgan Gamps Pedersen, Yuski Laskalainen, Yannick Bolasie, Kenwyn Jones. I think that's everyone we have on our list. I might be missing someone.
I think he's going in near the top. I think I am suggesting we slot him in under Mark Viduka.
Really? That high?
Maybe under Morgan Gamst.
I was thinking under... To be fair, I'm thinking under Morgan Gamps Pedersen, because in my head, like, I always kind of want to be Morgan Gamps Pedersen with like the bleach blonde tips and just like a fucking belter of a left foot. I think Michu probably goes above him though. I think it's more iconic.
I think the fans will say Michu had a more iconic impact than Morten Gamst.
To be fair, should we put this one out on our socials? Maybe put a poll up and let the listeners decide who goes.
Sure.
Or are you ruling with an iron fist?
This is my Peak Barclays list. Actually, I don't care what the listeners have to say. No, he's going. Yeah, I think he's going in second.
Nice. Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, let's get on predictions because it's getting dark because I came home late from work today. And
Can you barely see me?
yeah, I can barely see myself in all honesty because my eyes have fallen asleep. Cool. Let's go for it then. Starting with your team, Chelsea, West Ham away at Chelsea.
My optimism is out the door, so Chelsea are gonna win this 1-0.
1-0. Fuck you. You're very confident about West Ham. I think 3-1. Oh, I'm going to sound like a prick, aren't I? But I bet you end up winning like 2-1 or something.
I'll take that.
I'm going 3-1.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm going 3-1, I think. Bournemouth Wolves. I'm going Bournemouth 1-0, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw enough from Bournemouth this in last week that I think they'll win this one. I think it'll be 2-1 Bournemouth.
Brentford Villa.
I have to think Villa are gonna get their act together and win that. I think I'm gonna go 2-0 Villa.
Yeah, I think I'm falling into the trap of Brentford having a dreadful season and like
picking against them, right?
Yeah,
It feels easy right now.
It does feel really easy, doesn't it? But I feel a bit bad for Brentford fans, but it just doesn't look great at the moment. Not like relegation bad, but it just doesn't look great. I'm probably going to go Villa 3-1, maybe. Is that a bit bad? Yeah, I'm going to go for that. Okay, I think what could be the most interesting game of the weekend, Burnley-Sunderland, I'm going for a 0-0. Now, I just said probably the most interesting game, but and I've said that. I reckon it could have, because Burnley could have that dogged like defence in place and just be like, cool, we're going to shut up shop at home, get our like clean sheet record going, or just make sure they come away from the game with a point. And Sunderland may not have enough to break them down and may not be able to counter attack on them like they did on you guys this week.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with the draw, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, cool. Arsenal Leeds. I mean, don't want to go for Arsenal ever, but I think going to the Emirates is just too hard a job as a newly promoted club. In all honesty.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will probably edge it 2-1. I think Leeds will put in a good performance, but coming up against a quality team, it's going to be a hard one for Leeds.
Yeah, I think that might be a 2-0 for Arsenal. Palace Forest, I'm going 3-1 Forest because I think we're going to play our full strength team on Thursday for the Conference League playoff, and we're probably going to sack off the Forest game, and I think we could concede early to them and they just rip us apart like they did Brentford, and our players, I think it'll be a much weakened team put out. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, Forest look really good on the opening sort of weekend. I think I can see it being a 2-1 Forest win.
That's cool. Everton at the Hill Dickens Stadium for the first time against Brighton. It is the Hill Dickens, isn't it?
Hill Dickinson, sorry. Yeah.
I'm going to go with my Palace bias, 1-0 Everton. I think they're going to get off to a good start at that stadium.
Oof, this one is a difficult one to call. I think it might be 2-2. Desmond,
love it. Fulham, Man United. I didn't watch the United Arsenal game, so I don't know what they're like or what they look like. Some people at work said they looked a bit better, but I'm backing Fulham for this one. I think 2-1.
Yeah, Fulham, they can always pull a result out of the hat. Why not? Let's give them a 1-0 win.
Cool. And then again, that's probably going to be quite a feisty affair with all the Isaac transfer stuff, which actually we must be the only podcast in the world that hasn't talked about that, thinking about it.
Yeah, it's been talked about by too many people. There's literally nothing left for us to say at this point. He'll probably move after this game, like 10 p.m. on Monday. I think it's on Monday night or Sunday. Like he will at full time. They'll be like, Newcastle have sold Isaac to Liverpool for $500 billion, whatever the end payment will be. But I think this is going to be a tough one, but I think they can get a draw. I'm going to go for another Desmond. Actually,
I was going to go for 2-2.
Yeah, I'm going to go. No, I was going to go for 3-3. I was going to say it might just be pure guns out, like end to end. But without Isaac, and unless they get Visser in over the line very shortly, I think I'll stick with the 2-2.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. Cool. Nice. And then, yeah, that's it. So, wrap up. Anything else for listeners at all, Tom? You want to bring up before we go into socials and whatnot?
No, nothing else to wrap up. I'm literally sitting in the dark right now.
Mate, why are you just making it sound like you don't do that anyway by yourself? You literally
That's
just wait
my alone time, Alex.
You wait by your computer for this every week, and then you sit there until the next week.
It's just because you were having a shit for ages.
Oh, God. But yeah, cool. If you enjoy our complete ramblings and nonsense, please feel free to rate and review us and tell your friends. And then, yeah, feel free to follow us on socials, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Skies, Reddit, at other 14 podcast, at other 14 FC podcast, sorry.
Hey, there you go.
Email other14fcpodcast@gmail.com. But yeah, otherwise we'll see you guys next week when hopefully we'll be in a bit more lighter and we'll have a few more positive results for the other 14 teams.
Cheers, guys.
Nice. Bye.